So, hello. It's evening for me. I hope you're having a good morning, day, or evening yourself. I thought I would pull a card for us, just something that we can all take with us as we, do our human thing, chopping wood and carrying water. And let's see who wants to come forward. I'm just feeling the energy. Ah, the mirror card. I have not pulled that one in a really long time. All right, well, I love it when this one shows up because, first of all, it's the most important card in the Wisdom Keepers Oracle deck. And actually, if you really think about it, it's the whole point of the deck, right? To remind us that in the end, we are all wisdom keepers in the making and that we are ultimately the teachers that we have been seeking and longing for. So we may not be completely healed and perfectly manifested according to our conditioned mind's preferences, but we're learning and we're growing and we're stumbling and rising in our own very, very human way. And each of us is living out a very rich, unfolding, and unpredictable story, a story that is only ours. Right? No one else has lived it before or is living it now or will live it ever again in the future. And our story comes full of surprises, full of curveballs, crossroads, turning points, and with lots of moments when it seems like fear is winning. And then, of course, there are also moments when trust and love are kind of taking the lead. So let me just have a really quick look in the inner guidebook to see if anything wants to be read out loud. Okay. So this is actually the only card where I quote somebody other than Richard Rudd, and I quote Ralph Waldo Emerson here, and it says, "Be yourself, no base imitator of another, but your best self. There is something that you can do better than any other. Listen to the inward voice and bravely obey that." I love this quote, and it's especially the quote that gives me comfort whenever I'm working with, those angel cards from the 70s. Whenever I choose the one that says obedience, I'm like, that's the quote. Because it reminds me that when it comes to obedience, that's what it's for, right? To obey that inner voice, that intuition, even if it seems to be going against everything everybody around me is saying at any given moment with such certainty. So to me, the mirror card is really an invitation to come home to myself and to honor my uniqueness. And it's here because for some reason, if you're watching this, you need this reminder too, to honor who you are. And from that place, to remember that every single person you meet is also carrying their own absolutely never before experienced uniqueness too. They're living out their own mystery and they're embodying their own contradictions and experiencing their own crossroads. So when I pull this card, which is also, like I said, not too often, it also makes me kind of take a little humility pause and notice when I'm forgetting that truth, right? And I see when I'm starting to just automatically, this is what the human mind is kind of built to do, but like lump people together and make assumptions. And when I'm falling into that very common human trap of generalizing people, right? Putting them into boxes and groups. We all do it. And we do it with families and with tribes and political parties and nations. Like, those people, they're all like this. That country is like that. Christians are, Muslims are, Americans always, Republicans this, Democrats that, right? And you can fill in the blanks depending on where you are in the world. But if you really stop and feel into it and just really kind of just take a moment to think about your own family growing up, would you ever want someone to take your whole family and all of its different personalities and opinions and all the different wounding stories and the dreams and the arguments and even the moments of love and try to squeeze all of those people into one stereotype? One label, one assumption. Of course not. And even inside of myself, right? Just me, just one human being, I can barely generalize or get a grip on who I am, right? I've got so many moving parts operating inside of me at any given moment. So many different opinions and fears and impulses and hopes and dreams. And if I can't even figure myself out, how could I possibly reduce an entire group or religion or culture or nation into something, simple and fixed and neat. And, that's what the mirror card is saying, right? It's telling me, no, you can't, Rosie. We can't. And we don't have to. It's actually not our job as wisdom keepers in the making, right? Our job is simply to notice the human in front of us, whether we're looking in the mirror or we're looking into the eyes of somebody else, or we're looking at what seems to be unfolding in front of us on our phone or on our television screens or computers. This card is asking us to remember and honor the mystery, right? The evolving, forever unfolding mystery, full of paradox that each human being is and carries. So today, maybe just take a moment in your own way to honor your own beautiful, crazy story, your own paradoxical uniqueness, including all those inner divisions and contradictions, and see if that can help you soften a little bit toward the people around you, and see and appreciate the uniqueness in the people in your life, during a moment when, especially, during a moment when that would not normally feel so easy to do. So that is the invitation from the Mirror Wisdom Keeper today. And I hope that you've enjoyed that and it's stimulated you to do a little thinking and feeling of your own. And I'd love to hear any thoughts that come to you.